Hello everyone, welcome Saventra to our AWS Cloud Security series. If you're a cybersecurity professional, SOC analyst, network engineer, or someone preparing for cloud security roles, this series is designed specifically for you. Rather than simply explaining AWS services, we'll focus on why they matter from a security perspective and how they're used in real-world environments. In today's episode, we'll cover AWS Cloud fundamentals, explore the AWS Global Infrastructure, understand the shared responsibility model, review some of the most important AWS services, and finish with one of the most essential security services in AWS, CloudTrail. Let's get started. Before learning AWS, it's important to understand what cloud computing actually means. Traditionally, organizations had to purchase servers, networking equipment, storage devices, and maintain an entire data center. This required a large upfront investment and dedicated teams to manage hardware. Cloud computing changes that model completely. Instead of buying physical infrastructure, you rent computing resources over the internet and pay only for what you use. AWS allows you to create servers within minutes, increase or decrease capacity whenever needed, and deploy applications globally without owning a single piece of hardware. Some of the biggest advantages include pay-as-you-go, pricing elastic, scalability high, availability, global infrastructure, faster deployment. These advantages are one of the key reasons why organizations are migrating workloads to AWS. AWS operates one of the largest cloud infrastructures in the world. To provide high availability and low latency, AWS divides its infrastructure into several components. First are regions. A region is a separate geographic location, such as Mumbai, Singapore, Frankfurt, or Virginia. Each region contains multiple availability zones, often referred to as AZs. An availability zone is an isolated data center, or group of data centers, with independent power, cooling, and networking. Deploying applications across multiple AZs improves resilience. If one availability zone experiences an outage, the application can continue running in another. AWS also uses edge locations, which are part of services like CloudFront and Route 53. These locations cache content closer to end users, reducing latency. As security professionals, understanding where resources are deployed is important because data residency, compliance, and disaster recovery all depend on the chosen region. One of the most important concepts in AWS is the shared responsibility model. Many people mistakenly believe that because applications are hosted in the cloud, AWS handles all aspects of security. That's not true. AWS is responsible for the security of the cloud. This includes physical data centers, networking infrastructure, hardware, and virtualization. Customers are responsible for security in the cloud. This includes identity and access management, data protection, security groups, network configurations, encryption, operating system, patching for EC2 application security. Think of it this way. AWS provides a secure building. You are responsible for locking your own office inside that building. Let's review some of the core AWS services that you'll use throughout this series. IAM, or Identity and Access Management, controls who can access AWS resources. EC2 provides virtual servers where applications run. S3 is AWS highly scalable object storage service and is commonly used to store files, backups, logs, and static websites. RDS offers managed relational databases such as MySQL and PostgreSQL. VPC, or Virtual Private Cloud, enables you to create isolated networks within AWS. CloudWatch collects metrics, logs, and alarms for monitoring resources. CloudTrail records API activity across your AWS account, making it essential for auditing and incident response. Services like GuardDuty, Security Hub, and Inspector help detect threats, identify vulnerabilities, and provide a centralized security posture. Throughout this series, we'll explore each of these services in detail with practical demonstrations. Now let's focus on CloudTrail, one of the most important services for cloud security. Every action performed in AWS generates an API request. Whether someone logs into the AWS Management Console, launches an EC2 instance, deletes an S3 bucket, modifies a security group, or creates an IAM user, those actions can be recorded by CloudTrail. Think of CloudTrail as the audit log for your AWS account. It answers important investigation questions such as: who performed the action? What action was performed? When did it happen? Which IP address initiated the request? Which AWS region was involved? During a security incident, CloudTrail is often one of the first services investigators examine. Without CloudTrail, identifying unauthorized changes or suspicious activity becomes significantly more difficult. This is why CloudTrail should be enabled in every production AWS environment. First, I'm logged into my AWS account. I'll launch a small EC2 instance. Although this is just a routine administrative task, AWS records every API request behind the scenes. Once the instance has been created, I'll navigate to CloudTrail. From the left menu, I'll select Event History. Here we can see a chronological list of all API activities. I'll filter the events using Run Instances. Notice that CloudTrail immediately shows the event corresponding to the EC2 instance launch. Opening the event reveals several useful details. The event name tells us what happened. The username identifies who performed the action. The source IP address indicates where the request originated. The event time shows exactly when the activity occurred. We can also see the AWS region, the event source, and the specific API request parameters. This information is invaluable during forensic investigations. Now I'll terminate the EC2 instance. After refreshing CloudTrail, let's search for Terminate Instances. Again, we can see the complete audit trail, including the user, timestamp, source IP address, and additional metadata. This demonstrates why CloudTrail is considered one of the foundational services for AWS security monitoring and compliance. In today's session, we learned the basics of AWS Cloud Computing, explored the AWS Global Infrastructure, understood the shared responsibility model, reviewed the most important AWS services, and saw how CloudTrail records every API activity in an AWS account. These concepts form the foundation for everything we'll cover in the rest of this series. In the next episode, we'll take a deep dive into AWS Identity and Access Management, commonly known as IAM. We'll learn about users, groups, roles, policies, multi-factor authentication, and AWS security best practices. If you found this video helpful, please like the video, subscribe to the CiventraTech channel, and share it with others interested in cloud security. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next episode.